Hi everyone, my name is Dani Walker. Welcome to the channel. Today I have the reigning Miss World America on the channel, Shree Saini. I am so excited, guys, because she is going to be sharing with you so much valuable information about service, and she is the queen to talk about it. Let me share a little bit more about Shree with you guys. So she truly is the queen of service. She served over 100 nonprofits. And you may have heard of her a few years ago when she made headlines when she was competing for the Miss World America title, and she collapsed, but she's perseverant and she decided to continue. She didn't let that stop her from pursuing her dream. So she came back, and now she is the recently crowned Miss World America, who will be competing at Miss World very, very soon in December, if I'm correct. December, okay. So a little bit more about Shree, though. She is a global speaker who inspires others to overcome their hardships and be kind 100% of the time and live a joyful life. Let me tell you, that definition, that description fits her to a T. I know this of her personally. She has turned her adversities into advocacy. Shree is a survivor of facial burns and a heart surgery for a permanent pacemaker impact at just 12 years old. She has worked nonstop and been invited to speak in over 100 cities, amazing, 30 states, and 8 countries while being a full-time college student. She had recently graduated from the University of Washington while being a student at Harvard, Yale, and Stanford University. Her life story of overcoming struggles and her volunteer work has earned her recognitions from the Governor, Secretary of State, and even earned her the Best Pageant Title Holder Award, which was so well deserved. And she believes that we need to nourish our hearts daily with positive thoughts so that we can overcome difficulties in life and remain eternally grateful. Shree, I love that. I love you. Did I miss anything? Please introduce yourself to all of our contestants and pageant fans watching.
Oh my goodness, Dani Walker, thank you so much for that loving introduction. I think you covered everything, my education, my love for service, and my hope to just inspire people to care more about our community and be even a kinder human being, because I think service really begins from within, how you leave people at the end of each interaction. And then it goes and stems out into your community and what you're doing for your community. And Dani, I'm just so proud of you. I've seen you since Miss Montana USA days, and you have done everything in your capacity to be such a positive leader in our pageant community. I'm sure many girls have come up to you throughout the years and said how your videos have inspired them, given them hope. And I want to note that that's also an aspect of service, is the words that you share with other people. It's like having a generosity of spirit, how you uplift people's self-esteem. I think that is one of the biggest gifts you can give others, is the gift of self-esteem. And you have done such a wonderful job being a servant leader in our community. So it's such an honor to call you my friend and talk about service today.
Oh my gosh. Wow, Sheree. Okay, that was unexpected. Thank you so much. I love your perspective about service, because I feel like you don't just talk about service, you are service. You live service every single day. And I know that there are so many young women that I speak to, that I work with, when we're preparing for interviews, social impact initiatives, onstage questions. What's going to be their service project? What do they want to cover throughout their year of reign and far beyond it? That's always my hope, is this the far beyond it, and pageantry is really just the introduction into that. And so I know that so many young women are at different places in their journey with service. So I want to start with you at the beginning of that, to really give young women some actionable tips for, what do I do? I just got involved in pageantry. I'm new. I'm learning about all of these things. And how does somebody really get started in volunteering in their community if they've never done it before? How do they get started working within the community or for causes that they care about?
I think number one is research. Look at nonprofits in your local community and find something that truly brings you joy, that's something that you look forward to volunteering. Make it a community type event. Take your friends with you, take your family with you, get people involved, encourage people to come alongside of your service event so they can also, see the impact you're making, and you can make a bigger impact through the community that you're bringing. So just research and call up nonprofits, email nonprofit heads, and ask them, I am this and this title, and I want to help you raise funds or help you raise awareness. And then listen to them, truly listen what the nonprofit needs. Do they need more funds, or do they need supplies? Do they need more awareness? Do they need more volunteers? And then after learning what their needs are, take action, follow through. And so I think research, learning what they need, and then also being very consistent. It's not about just joining a nonprofit and doing it for a few weeks, for a few months, but it's about staying in touch with that NGO as long as you possibly can. Because like you said, it's not just a temporary thing, service, it should be a lifelong mission. I think when girls start volunteering, they will feel a greater sense of purpose and joy when they see the impact, and they would themselves want to come back. And after a while, when you volunteer with these nonprofits, they become family. They become your family, and you don't want to ever leave your family and abandon your family. So I think just get started and find joy in it, create goals, and just be consistent.
I love that. And there's something that you mentioned that I think is really important. You said, mention your title when you're reaching out to these people. And I know that not all contestants are competing in a system where they have a title. So I would suggest, because it's so funny, I do similar things when, as a YouTuber, I want to reach out to a certain event or a certain brand. And even if you feel in the moment, like, who am I? Like, who am I to contact these people? You're somebody, and I think you're important. And whether you have a local title, a state title, or you can also still use just your connection with an organization and say, I'm a contestant for this system. And I think that that's something important to mention, that wherever you are in your journey, you're still important. And there are still organizations that can benefit from your help. And the other thing I really love that you mentioned too was that you do your research and you listen to what an organization wants, because so many girls think, I don't know where to start, and they feel overwhelmed, and I think that that prevents them from doing anything. So what a great tip is just listening to the organization and asking, what specifically do you need? And then also you can figure out, okay, can I help with that? Am I a person who does have those skill sets? Does that match me? Is this the right organization or event for me to be working with? So I think that that is such a great actionable tip that contestants can take. Now, let's say that a contestant is from which many are, a small town, an area. Maybe they don't have that many events in their community, and maybe they are touched by something personally, and they look around and they're like, gosh, this is something that's affected me or those that I know, but there are no events that are local to me that are addressing this issue. And I know that you have done just extensive work, not only with organizations, but seeing a problem or seeing a need and you organizing things yourself, where you're like, you know what, somebody needs to do something about this, and I'm someone, and I'm going to do it. So if young women have this cause or something that is really on their heart and in an area to serve, and it doesn't really exist yet, what would be your tips for getting started with creating your own type of service project, even if it's not technically an officially registered nonprofit?
Pick a date that you want to do the event, tell people about the events, share your passion, share your enthusiasm, and only by scheduling that event will you feel more inspired and motivated and have a goal. Because if you're always overthinking and you're stuck in your thinking and you don't get out of your head, then you're not able to take the exact actions in order to make that event successful. So I think you just have to be bold and say, I can do this. Like you said, you don't even have to be involved in pageantry to be of service. You just have to be a person who cares and a person who wants to create an impact. So just pick a date for the event, bring your families, bring your friends together, email principal, superintendent, tell them about the event, and just get started. And don't hesitate. I think we oftentimes just cut ourselves short by hesitating, and we can only make a tangible impact by taking action. And I also came from a very small town, and I think no matter where you are, you can make an impact. You just need to just make an impact in one person's life. You don't have to make an impact in the lives of hundreds of people to feel like you're valuable. Even that one person that you are, sharing your time with, supporting is a very valuable time that you just spend, uplifting that one person's life and changing their world.
That's such an important thing to remember, because so many contestants, yeah, it's great, it's admirable to want to impact the lives of hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands. That's a wonderful goal. But how do you start? You can start with just one. And I think that a lot of contestants overlook that, or they minimize it. They feel like they compare themselves to other contestants who have maybe been involved in nonprofits for over a decade, or who have served thousands of people, and they minimize that they've helped one person. And that's more than a lot of people can say for themselves. So I think it's important to not minimize it, to celebrate it, and to just keep encouraging others to get involved. Now, I've seen too that you have created some incredibly impactful service projects, not just in the US, but internationally. And that's what blows my mind, is that when you see an issue, that you tackle it no matter the obstacles that you're facing. Have you noticed with any of the service projects that you've created and organized that there are any common obstacles, and do you have any tips for overcoming those obstacles, even when it comes to something like distance?
I recently fundraised 560,000 rupees for COVID relief outside of America. And it requires a lot of consistent work, like consistently calling family, friends, and local businesses and following up with them, because sometimes when you ask for donation once, they might say, come back to us next week or come back to us end of the month. So I think one thing you have to really work on is being consistent in your follow-up, being consistent in reminding them how beautiful it would be to leave an impact in the lives of these people, and just reminding them that we're a larger world family, to look outside of their own family unit and community and think about how beautiful it would be that I was able to provide educational materials and I was able to provide families with food, shelter, water. The only obstacle is just making sure you follow up. Other than that, you might hear some no's, but making sure that you feel excited about the next yes, or you acknowledge the yeses that you have had and not feeling defeated by a no, and still know that you can come back to that person who said no to you in a few weeks, in a few months. But you just have to stay consistent. And same goes with the $24,000 that I raised for Variety's Children's Charity. That took about a year of work to do, but I made myself a goal that every single week I'm gonna call new people, send them emails, talk to them about Variety Children's Charity, talk to them the importance of giving back, and just inspire them. Maybe you can donate $100 or $1,000 or $2,000, and just tell them that how incredible it would be to make that impact.
Thank you so much for mentioning how long it took to achieve that goal, because I think that that's something that we don't address enough in pageantry, when young women do have these incredible accolades in their communities. Like you said, $24,000, to me, that doesn't sound like any easy feat. And I think that contestants can get discouraged when they hear, okay, another contestant raised $24,000. I can't even get anybody to raise 50,000 or 50,000, $50. And they get discouraged. They stop before they even start, but they don't realize that, like you said, it took a year. Many contestants, they give up after a week. or a couple of weeks. And you have to remain committed to that goal and renew and remind yourself, I think, of your sense of purpose and what you're really doing this for, and all of the people really that you're going to be benefiting. So I think that that's such an important thing to remember. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. And I was just speaking to a contestant, and she was talking to me about sponsorship. And she's like, I've asked these people for sponsorship for my pageant, which is kind of similar to fundraising. And she said, everybody's saying no. And I said, well, did you follow up with any of these people? She's like, well, a few of them said that they would, but then after I sent them the information, I haven't heard back. And I was like, you need to follow up with these people. The follow up is probably even more important than that initial call. And I think that the follow up is what so many contestants are missing, is you have to check back in with people because people are busy.
Right.
I forget all the time, and I'm guilty of it. I've had girls message me before, and they'll contact me, and I thought that I replied to the message in my head, and I didn't. And then they do the follow up, and I go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't forget about you. I thought that I'd responded. So just remember that, and I think to keep in mind to always give grace to other people. And remember, they have a busy life as well. So yeah, that's such an incredible point that I love that you touched on. And now let's say though that we have other contestants that are at a different part of their journey. They're no stranger to working with nonprofits or pageantry. Let's say that they have really though honed in on the area and the need that they would like to serve. For example, if they want to work with a very specific nonprofit and maybe they want to fulfill a certain role within that organization, because there's so many different moving parts in every nonprofit, and each of them, especially the bigger that they get, there's more roles and different responsibilities. So if you were seeking to work, because I know you've also partnered with and collaborated with and worked with multiple nonprofits that are already well established and very reputable, how would you build connections with people in the nonprofit sector if you have no connections with them at all, but you have that heart to serve?
Go on the nonprofit's website, click on Contact Us tab, look up people who are part of the nonprofit, and email them. Introduce yourself. You're just one email away from that one person that you could potentially connect with and volunteer with and have part of your journey. So it's all in the taking action. Like the magic is in taking action and introducing yourself, and then just see. And then, like you said, if there's no reply, people are busy, just follow up. I think girls sometimes overcomplicate it, and I want to simplify service work and volunteering. It's really simple. You just have to be very consistent, and after you have made that relationship, just continue to serve that nonprofit, continue to help that nonprofit grow, come up collectively with a goal for the next month or the next quarter, inspire more people to get involved and find joy in doing it. It's such a privilege to be able to be the one who's giving back. And as long as you stem from, a very pure place, I think girls will be just fine if they just write emails, make phone calls, and make that connection.
You're so right. What a privilege it is to be the one giving back and to not be the person that is in need of something. I think that people forget that a lot. It's really an honor to be able to serve other people. And so many just amazing points and amazing just tidbits that I feel like you're sharing, that I hope that everybody that's listening is really just letting this sink in. Watch this a second time, because I feel like there's so much value in what you're sharing. So you made a point of just sending out an email. Are there any things when you send out an initial message to a nonprofit, whether you want to get involved, help them in any way, are there any things that you think of when you're sending out that email, things to include or maybe things not to mention in an email?
That's such a great point, Dani. I think one thing you can do is first just introduce yourself. Second, share your passion for why exactly you're connecting with that nonprofit. Like for me, I volunteered with American Heart Association. So years ago, I mentioned to them, I'm a pacemaker patient. I was born with a complete heart block. A pacemaker is a device that helps my heart run at a normal rate, and I'm forever going to need many pacemaker surgeries in order to live. So I shared with them how grateful I am for the American Heart Association and how, the doctors and the researchers there were the ones who first initially created the pacemaker and actually helped create a device that I am living. I'm here living because of it. So introduce yourself, share the reason why that nonprofit, and then second, just say, I want to help, but I want to listen to you, and please kind of guide me and give them the torch to mentor you in this. Ask them what is the best way I can benefit your nonprofit, and then maybe just put your phone number there, because I think going from an email to a phone call makes more of a human to human connection. And just say, do you have 15 minutes this week that we could talk on the phone, and then listen to them and see how you can best benefit them. So keep it clean, crisp, clean, concise, add joy to it, and just see where it goes, see where that connection goes. And then you can maybe even ask them, when is your next event that I can come as a volunteer? Because many nonprofits already have like annual or semi-annual events or quarterly events. So just be of service to them and invite people to come with you.
That's such a great idea and so necessary. And I will say, being a person who's been on the receiving end of your messages and your emails, that just take your advice about pure intentions and speaking with joy, and also having a sense of organization, I think, because you outline some things to mention in the messages, because that does stand out to someone, the way that you structure a message, and that there's good intentions behind what you're saying, because I can feel that in all of your messages. And I will say, whenever you send a message or something thoughtful or a card, you just know that your heart was in it. And being a recipient, it just makes you feel so special. And I think that's what people love. People love to feel special, and they're naturally going to be drawn to you if they feel good about themselves after your interaction, whether that's in person or whether that's online. And the reality is, most of the time our interactions initially are going to be online today, because that's the world that we're living in. So learning how to send those warm messages, even if it's through something like an email, because that's going to be your foot in the door. And I just think that is really important for anyone to understand if they want to get involved with nonprofits or just build better relationships in life. It'll take you so far.
And emails sometimes take time. I've spent hours writing just one email, and I wrote like thousands of emails to different nonprofits. Only by consistently writing emails, following up, was I able to serve with 100 nonprofits. It didn't happen over time. So to any girl or anyone who's listening and wants to be of service, like, no, it will take a lot of time and a lot of hours and years and months in order to sometimes make that big of an impact that you hear of when girls do raise thousands of dollars. But no, it always starts with one email, one phone call, one interaction, and then it later on builds up to it.
I love that. That's great. And the other thing I wanted to touch on as well is, let's say that you already have your own cause, campaign, initiative, service, project, whatever you want to label it or title that. And you're trying to get more people involved, and you're inviting friends, but you're feeling like they're not really receptive to it. What are some ways that you've gone about to get people excited about your projects, excited enough, or get them to care enough to actually physically show up to an event? How do you get from initially sharing about what you're doing to actually building that physical presence?
I just simplify it for them. I say, it's only 2 hours on this Saturday. or a few hours on Wednesday, and I share, looking back in our life, what has been the most memorable experiences that you have had. For me, it has always been when people have come up to me and said how my vulnerability of my own story, me being transparent inspired them. So I kind of remind them, are you going to remember the Saturdays where you stayed at home, or are you going to remember the Saturdays where you went out in the community, you met new people, new faces, created a memory where you were being of help, of being a positive contributor. So I kind of inspire them how it's not just you helping, but you also get benefited in a way, because you feel like, wow, I have the ability to make an impact. Because I think a lot of times people think that, how can I help? Like, what do I have any value? And people are very hard on themselves. And I want to remind people of their worth, that every loving action you take, every single hour that you spend volunteering will make a difference. Simplifying it for people for it to come, telling them, just give me one volunteer hour, or give me one event, and then you can see if you want to continue. And the minute the people, my friends and my family members have come with me, they never leave, because they fall in love with, that memory and that impact that they see. So simplify it and just get people involved.
I've had experience with that as well. I have invited friends before and told them this is going to be fun. I'm not telling you to do something on your own. I'll be there with you. We're going to have a great time together. We're going to be able to serve others. And I have had friends where I have introduced them to different organizations or events, and they have continued to volunteer without me. Then they don't need me to be there and hold their hand in order to get them to show up, because they realized that when you serve others, it is so fulfilling. And it's just so interesting to me how you can be so giving, but yet you get so much back. And whether that's that feeling of fulfillment and purpose, or if you're actually building community. And through the nonprofits that I've personally worked with and events that I've worked with, I built friendships and relationships that not only impacted the community, but it was interesting. I took away those relationships and was able to work with them in other capacities. Strangely enough, I've even booked jobs for in entertainment and in modeling, because I met somebody at a nonprofit, we connected, and they were like, by the way, this is my profession, and I know that this is your profession. Let's collaborate, let's work together. There's opportunities like that, or there's opportunities just for friendship, to have people that are like-minded, that are like you, that are going to be supportive and uplifting individuals around you. So there's so much value to serving others. And I think that what goes around comes around, and it always comes back to you tenfold. And there was a quote that I loved, and I heard it in a sermon once, and it was that you can't outgive God. Try it. And I started thinking, and whether you're faith-based or not, I think that that's something that everybody can take away, is just try to give and see what happens. Give without expectation of return. And
Right.
and when you do that, you're going to go, oh my gosh, my life has been so blessed. Look at all of these opportunities that are coming my way. And that's something I shared a lot as Miss Montana USA. I shared that message in my paperwork. I shared it on stage. I shared it whenever I was able to interact with people, because to me, I really believe that is the key to success. And I look at you, and I look at just, the impact you're creating, and then all the press that you've gotten in return, and all of this exposure. And so many contestants are like, I want to do what Shree does, I want to be like her. And I'm like, well, Shree gives a lot though. She's always giving of herself. And I think that's exactly why others, whenever you need support, are rallying behind you. No matter what it is, they're going to go, I want to support Shree in whatever endeavor it is. And I think that's such an important thing for contestants to understand.
What you said about community is so true. When I had my Miss World America homecoming celebration, just a few days after I got crowned, I had 6 nonprofit heads there. I had the commissioner there, senators there, representatives there, and they have become some of my closest friends. Like I call them uncles and aunts because I've spent years serving alongside them and they've seen me grown up. One representative knew me since I was in 7th grade. So it truly becomes such an honor to call them friends and family members. It's not just a small transaction. I think in life, we need to see these relationships as lifelong relationships and not just a small transaction, because only then when you do something long term are you able to make an even bigger impact. And I think community is everything in life, the people you surround yourself with, and having like-minded people around you is such a big blessing. I think relationships are one of the biggest gifts that we have in our life.
So true. So true. The building of that community and always serving one another in so many different ways. There's so many ways we can serve each other, whether that's through nonprofit work or honestly just supporting a friend in any way that they need it. It could be a phone call, it could be something as simple, I think, as a DM on Instagram sometimes that makes the difference for somebody else, because we never know what everyone is going through. And I think it's important. Shree, since I have so many pageant fans and contestants that watch and support this channel, I'm thankful to all of them who decided to tune in with us today and check this out, because I feel like there's so much value in what you have to share. If you were able to win the title of Miss World, which is coming up so soon, do you have any goals for your year in terms of service?
My goal would be to do over 100 service events in that one year. And also, when I am at a service event or charity gala interacting with people, it would be to inspire each person in that audience to increase their altruism, increase their generosity, and also inspire them to become more compassionate and caring. Like you said, it's not just the funds you raise, but also how you interact with people around you. For example, all the money I've raised at different NGOs and charity galas, it happened through the speeches I gave, the examples I gave. So my goal would be to help raise as many funds as I possibly can. But also through my social media, my goal would be to share uplifting messages throughout the year. And I have been doing that as Shree and as Miss World America. And even before that, I try to make every single Instagram and Facebook post very meaningful and authentic, so people leave with either like a tangible tool on how they can, raise more funds, raise their spirits for that day. So just making sure I'm very consistent in my messaging and very a positive contributor in every post and every interaction I have. And hopefully I can take the Miss World crown to places it has never been before. So yeah, that's my
I
goal.
love that, taking the crown to places it's never been before. Wow. Okay, that's a perfect way to sum this up and your goals. And Shree, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing all this valuable information for all the people that will be watching this, and really just letting them learn a little bit more about you and your work. And so if they were to want to get involved with any of the work that you do for service, or if they want to follow your year of reign as Miss World America, what are the best places for them to find you and reach out to you if they wanted to collaborate?
Social media, my Instagram is just my name, Shree Saini, Facebook, Shree Saini, and then my email is shree@shreesaini.org. I continuously work for so many nonprofits throughout the week, sometimes even 6 nonprofits in one week. Yesterday, I made like 2 videos for 2 different national NGOs, just sharing my message for generosity. So just stay in touch with me. I'm just one message away, and hopefully I can be a good asset to your event.
Wonderful. Okay, well, Shree, thank you so much for joining us for today. I hope that everybody took away some value in this. I know I did for sure. I want to say thank you to everyone who supports the channel, who watches it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so that you know when new episodes like this one come out. And don't forget to follow Shree's journey to Miss World. Thanks, Shree.
And thank you, Dani, for all your love and support, not just to me, but so many other girls. You're such a bright light in our pageant community. We're so lucky to have you.
Thank you.